5, 6, 7, 8. Bum ba dum, bum ba dum, bum ba dum ba dum ba dum. Good evening, Space Monkeys, and welcome to the inaugural episode 2 of Freelancing, the show where I just kind of talk into my microphone for a good half hour about whatever comes into my mind. This week, we are covering 2 subjects. This is the ultra spoiler episode, so if you don't like spoilers, go away. There's a huge obsession on the internet about avoiding spoilers. Here's a clue. Don't get mad when somebody spoils something for you. Just avoid the subject. So if you don't want to know the spoilers to, say, the ending to Kill la Kill, or BioShock Infinite Episode 2 Burial at Sea, Episode 2 Burial at... if you don't want to know the spoilers to either of those things, then go away. I love you. Take your time, watch those things, come back, then we can have a nice conversation. Until then, I'll be missing you. So we're going to start with the thing that I think most people care most about, which is BioShock Infinite Burial at Sea, Episode 2, BioShock Infinite Burial at Sea. I keep doing that. Anyway, this is the second DLC to BioShock Infinite, a game that I bought last year. It's been an entire year. Feels like 10. But that's just how I am. Time feels really long to me. Anyway, I played BioShock Infinite, and if you've read my review, you know that I was positive towards it, but in a very guarded way. I kind of came to the conclusion the second day it was out that the rest of the gaming community seemed to come to about 6 months later down the line, which is that it was a huge achievement. Ken Levine, you deserve your place up in the internet hierarchy, you know, you get up there, you get that little halo behind your head, somebody can go and draw icons to you and worship you. I think you're a great director. I think BioShock Infinite is a huge achievement and a major milestone towards gaming, but it wasn't that much fun. It wasn't as good as the first BioShock. It had a few problems. It wasn't that it was story focused, it was just that the gameplay was kind of too plain, too simple. And between trying to get this just gorgeous world and all of these ideas, it kind of lost track of actually being fun. So, this all boiled down to me personally just one little petty, immature business, which is you never get to fight Songbird. Songbird is the iconic enemy of BioShock Infinite. He's this racing threat that's constantly coming up, and he comes after you, and you never fight him, because I guess there was no room in the budget. The story didn't call for it. It's, you know, like, alright, I understand what you're going for, all this time travel stuff, but I want to fight Songbird. I love boss battles. They're my favorite part of games, and there really wasn't any boss battles in BioShock Infinite. So, I was kind of disappointed in the game. I mean, I'm glad I played it. It was the best games of 2013. Still, I sold it back to GameStop the week after, and I got for my troubles the original BioShock Mirror's Edge, and a truly god-awful JRPG called White Knight Chronicles that was not even worth talking about. Oh my god, that game was awful. But anyway, BioShock Infinite, as it turns out, by selling the game, I had made a huge mistake, because Irrational Games had in their pocket just amazing DLCs, which I have not actually played, so if you actually want a honest, true gaming opinion, you're not going to get it here. I instead watched the Burial at Sea DLCs on this newfangled invention, and this is very nifty. It's called YouTube. What you could do is you could upload videos to YouTube, and people upload entire gameplay things, and this is very impressive. Like, this is a major frontier for, you know, humanity. I'm very impressed with this YouTube thing. I think I got to get more involved with it. So, I watched Burial at Sea, the first DLC, and I thought it was great. Gameplay-wise, I can't really comment. I'm just gonna have to comment, like, story-wise and plot-wise. The gameplay looked virtually the same as the first BioShock, at least the first Burial at Sea, but you did get to fight a Big Daddy at the end, and it was really cool. They made it much more intense than the average Big Daddy fight from BioShock 1. So, that was a boss fight that I wanted in the real BioShock Infinite. If you take all the Burial at Sea DLCs together, you wind up with a much greater BioShock Infinite whole than you would with just the plain game. The DLCs are really kind of necessary for this game to be not just mediocre, I guess. Well, it's above mediocre. It goes from good to great because of these DLCs. But what I really liked about Burial at Sea Episode 1 was that it was kind of a self-contained story. You know, BioShock Infinite kind of opened up all these unlimited doors, so there's infinite numbers of little tiny stories that could be going on all over the place. So here we have one where Comstock is actually a good guy, or trying to be a good guy, but he's still pretty evil, and Elizabeth gets her brutal revenge, and it's pretty dark at the end. Burial at Sea Episode 2 is very ambitious, because what it wants to do is close all of the doors. It wants to go and take BioShock, all of it, not just Infinite, and kind of wrap it up into all one neat package, which I don't think is necessary, but I can see why Irrational Games would want to do that. BioShock has kind of been their flagship title. It's what Irrational Games are going to be remembered for, and unfortunately, remember is what we're going to have to do for Irrational Games, because they're going away. I'll miss you guys. You're closing shop. Ken Levine, he's going to keep going, but there isn't going to be an Irrational Games. The next BioShock, if there is one, I'm sure there will be, considering how much money these things make, but it's going to be made by completely different people. So, in Episode 2, you're playing as Elizabeth, and this time they actually added a stealth mechanic, so you can go through the entire game without actually killing anybody, which is interesting. Or you could take a shotgun and kill everybody, like I probably would have, considering I don't care. And this time you're playing as Elizabeth, and thanks to a newfangled timey-wimey rule, she goes back to Rapture, and, that was one of the great things about the first Burial at Sea, is that you actually got to see Rapture in its prime. That was pretty cool, Sander Cohen! You got to see a Sander Cohen show without people, well, people still got killed, but, there was actually an audience, and they seemed to like it. Yeah, alright. So, now you're in the bowels of Rapture, and you're trapped down there. What Elizabeth is doing is she's trying to save Sally, the little sister that Comstock was trying to save in the first one. So she's given up her god powers because, according to a new rule that Ken Levine just made up, and this is why I hate time travel stories, is that you're just allowed to make up rules, like Final Fantasy 13-2. If you see the future, you die of time poisoning! Yeah, fuck you, Final Fantasy 13-2. I'm not gonna say fuck you to Ken Levine. I still worship you. I am not worthy. I am not worthy. But anyway, because Elizabeth died, somehow she let herself get killed by the Big Daddy, even though she is unto a god and unstuck from time and knows everything, but she let the Big Daddy kill her. I don't know why. Because she goes back, she loses all of her powers, and she's back to being just a regular old girl, and the only superpower she kind of has is that Booker DeWitt is inside her brain now. I was kind of hoping from the trailer that it would turn out to be a head Cylon thing. Kind of like, the remake of remake of Battlestar Galactica. But it wasn't. It was just her insanity or something, or her superpower talking to her. I don't know why. While she was omnipotent, she came up with this brilliant plan to save Sally. The only problem is her plan isn't very brilliant at all. It involves her going through a ludicrously dangerous journey where she fights about 50 people, going from Rapture to Columbia and back, which is cool. You get to see both worlds. A lot of stealth gameplay, no boss fights. You still don't fight Songbird. Irrational Games. How many of you people do I have to blow? And I've blown a lot of you, begging to see the goddamn Songbird in a boss fight, and it's never, ever happened. Why? Oh! Anyway, I guess it doesn't really make sense considering it's Elizabeth. She would never kind of fight Songbird. Doesn't matter. Anyway, her brilliant plan is incredibly dumb, and I guess I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry. Watch your eyes. Nitpicks are going to be flying around. I've seen people lose eyes when I nitpick before. It's very dangerous, alright? Put on a hard hat, some work boots, alright? Don't want to violate OSHA here, okay? So, her plan is to help Atlas, and let him start the Rapture Civil War. That's going to save Sally because, as I said, the entire thing's wrapping up in a great bow, because Elizabeth is sacrificing herself, so it's a downer ending, very sad. She dies. She lets Atlas beat her over the head with a wrench, and I think she dies in the plane crash anyway because of time. I don't know. But, yeah, her plan is to let Atlas destroy Rapture, kill thousands of people, drive many more completely insane, start this ridiculous war, probably kill lots of little kids. And I know from BioShock 2 that little kids actually did get killed, but Then again, I think Irrational Games in this one is saying that BioShock 2 never happened, because there's no references to it, even though we're wrapping up the entire franchise. So everything Elizabeth is doing is setting up the events of the first game, letting Atlas completely fulfill his evil plan, so that way the main hero of BioShock 1 will come down there and save all the little sisters. Unless, of course, I don't know, the player takes the evil ending, and then it's all kind of pointless, and then World War III happens. Or maybe the player just avoids the big daddies and goes on one of those kinds of runs and never saves a single little sister. I think you have to save the first one. The game won't let you go forward without doing that, but otherwise, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is the best way you could do it? This isn't really helping in any way. Not to mention this entire rule that if you go back to a place where you're already dead, breaks your time travel powers. How come that doesn't work for the Lutesis twins? You know, they're unstuck from time, but they're in Colombia, and I think they're dead there. That doesn't seem to stop them. And not to mention, in the first game, third game, BioShock Infinite, Elizabeth goes back to Rapture, where she's dead, in fact, dead twice, and she still has her omnipotence. She's still able to lead Booker all the way up to the big, giant forest of lighthouses to go through the entire mindfuck ending. So, I don't buy this rule. And I don't really like the ending. I thought the DLC itself, avoiding nitpicking, I think it was really cool. There's a lot of great stuff that goes on there. It opens with Elizabeth having this completely fairy tale Disney fantasy journey through Paris. You know, there's painters like Bonjour, Monsieur Elizabeth. You know, they're painting. There's baguettes. Everyone starts singing some French song. A little bird lands on her finger and starts chirping. That's adorable. Less adorable is a moment where Atlas threatens to give you a lobotomy, and then actually, starts slamming a hammer against your skull and almost kills Sally with a lobotomy. Which, by the way, if you lobotomize a little sister, what does that do? I assume they already might have been. Whatever. So, yeah, there's that bit. Less great is that Andrew Ryan shows up, and he kind of doesn't really do anything. He just sort of talks, and he makes vague threats, and he sends a few guys. Disappointing. Speaking of everything getting wrapped up, it turns out that Fink and Suchong, Fink and Suchong from Columbia and Rapture, respectively, they've been working together, and they've, had a super villain team up. And that was what I was kind of hoping with this DLC, that it would turn out that, we're gonna actually break the BioShock rules. This is some other Splinter universe, and all of a sudden Suchong is going to come out. He's going to be like this super-powered time god. That the ace in the hole would be Elizabeth somehow, and she was going to have to fight maybe Songbird. Who knows? Turns out no. Everything's all coherent. All the doors are closed, and it's all so neatly wrapped. And that's just disappointing. You don't really want it to be neatly wrapped. It's called Infinite. Infinite possibilities. Instead, I guess every Elizabeth is dead now. I don't know what the rules are. They can make up anything they want. BioShock 4 could star Elizabeth in a volcano dystopia, you know? They could do whatever they want considering the rules, but I think what they're trying to do is they're saying that Elizabeth is dead, and she's dead for real. And it's a downer, and it's a little too neat. And what does any of this have to do with 19th century racism? I feel like we completely lost that bit, didn't we? Oh well. Anyway, talking about endings that are not a downer, we're going to move over to Kill la Kill. This is the latest anime series that's been airing for about the last 6 months in Japan, and which I've been watching semi-legally, legally. It depends on whether or not Crunchyroll gets their shit together. And Crunchyroll has not had their shit together. They have really done a terrible job with streaming Kill la Kill. I think half the times I had to watch the show, I watched it fan subs. So Kill la Kill is made by the new studio Trigger. It is directed by Hiroyuki Imaishi. Sorry if I'm not very good with the Japanese, whatever. I actually reviewed this. I reviewed kind of halfway through, which is not a good thing to do in retrospect. You really have to go and watch an entire anime series before you can go and make a definitive opinion on it. Because when I wrote the review, I was ready to just go and declare Kill la Kill to be the savior of anime, the greatest thing ever, and I kind of blew Hiroyuki Imaishi a little bit. I'm blowing a lot of people today, I noticed that. Wow. My sexuality is very much in question. Ooh. Anyway, so the last half of the series is when, as I predicted, the apparently evil characters, which is Satsuki and her Elite Four, made a heel-face turn, or a face-heel turn. I'm not sure how that direction goes. They went from heels to faces, to use a wrestling term. Not that I ever watch wrestling. They became good guys. And it turns out that Ragyo is actually Ragyo Satsuki's mother, who is also Ryuko's mother. There's a lot of twists. The story got really, really high pressure, as you would expect from Kill la Kill. Turns out she's actually an evil alien representative, and she's leading an alien invasion. And what are the aliens? Clothing. Yep, turns out cloth, basic cotton, polyester, all those things. It's actually an alien invasion. They infected our minds, made us get out of the jungle, off the trees, and made us build civilization so that way they could harvest us. And in case you were wondering why the show required so much nudity and stripper outfits, it's because nudity is a rebellion against these aliens. Not that any of this makes any sense. It's still kind of that same anime exploitation fun. It's hard to defend it, but I will, because I like it. It was fun. Looking back, now the show's over, it aired on Thursday night, and I can now kind of take a more objective opinion, because while the show was airing, it was doing things to me that very few shows do. I don't think I've felt this way since, Dragon Ball Z, where, it comes to the point where I'm so invested with this show, I'm so much a mark, I'm so much enslaved to what the writers want. When an evil character shows up, all of a sudden I get actually angry. I'm like, damn it, New, get the fuck out of here! The good guys are supposed to win! Go away! I don't like you! You're evil! I'm kind of embarrassed. Normally I'm super cool hipster critic, but now I'm completely a slave. Oh man, I guess I have to go and give up the blog and just, I don't know, go wander around like a Japanese ronin, begging, writing reviews for food. Anyway. Now that's over, I'm slightly more objective about it, so I can look at the show and I can say it was not the great salvation of all of anime, but it was still very good. It was still easily within top 20 shows I've ever seen. Kind of a big drop, but, it's not in the top 5, probably. There's a few problems, now that you look back. I love the tone, I love the characters. A few issues, though, is, number one, now that it's all over, the nudist beach guys, they didn't do jack shit. They did not need to be in the show. I was kind of hoping for Ikoro to turn out to be evil, considering, he was naked all the time, and he was always, shoving his dick into Ryuko's face. I was just waiting for him to do something, and he never did. He never did anything. He was completely unimportant. That's not that great. There's also a point where Sumugo, I guess the second-in-command guy, he was given, these magical red needles to fight with, and they never got used. Chekhov put the gun on the wall, and he never fired it. So I was waiting for him to throw those things out, for them to finally have a point, but they never did. Looking back, the animation quality in some episodes was really bad, and especially the last episode was kind of terrible. I mean, I loved how the show ended. I thought the right character sacrificed himself. I thought that, spoilers as always, it turns out to be Satsuki's sailor uniform, and it was the saddest thing. Senketsu's when he's burning up in the atmosphere to save Ryuko, he's like, sailor uniforms are meant to be outgrown. You will wear new clothes, and you will love them too. No, Senketsu! Don't sacrifice yourself! I want to go out and buy a Japanese sailor uniform, and wear it, and pretend that it's Senketsu. And then I'll go to sleep with it, and I'll feed it Cheerios, and I'll raise it as my own. And one day, it will take over Planet Blue, and it will be my successor. But, the last episode's still kind of not that great, considering they didn't budget their time or their money all that well. They wasted, I don't know why anime shows are suddenly 24 episodes. They always used to be 26. But, I don't know. They wasted a lot of episodes with Ryuko just fighting the Elite Four. And it's kind of it wasn't all that great. I mean, it was great seeing their powers. Gamagori's power, his disturbing S&M powers were great. But, towards the end, it seemed like the last episode was 3 episodes mixed together, and already in this show, with its hot-blooded, just intense pounding against your brain with as much pressure and plot twists and just craziness, the last episode was like having 6 heart attacks and a stroke, and then going insane, and then getting high off of mushrooms, all of it at once. It was so much of a clusterfuck. Like, Gamagori takes a hit from Mako, which, by the way, the Gamagori-Mako shipping that everybody wanted to do, it never really got put together. If anything, Mako and Ryuko, they wound up coming together. Yeah, he winds up going and taking a hit, heroic sacrifice. Then all of a sudden, like, there's big comedy because the nudist beach guys turned into a fusion robot. They're a transformer, and they start attacking the bad guy. That gets kicked out. Then all of a sudden, comedy, and then action, and then sadness and comedy. I'm like, fucking calm down. Lay down for a second. I know you're Kill la Kill. I know this is Trigger. This is made by the people who made Panty and Stocking and Garter Belt, so it's gonna be nuts. But there's a point where you go from being charmingly nuts, where it's kind of like the show's, like, animation gags, kind of like how Gamagori has no set size, he's just always bigger. Like, you know, you go from stylized, you know, kind of self-parody, to just being too much, to just breaking basic storytelling rules, and I felt they did that in the last episode. I don't think it made the show bad, because let's be honest, there aren't that many animes that have ended with really great final episodes. I think, like, the best one might be Fooly Cooly or Cowboy Bebop. They might be the best ones. But even, like, great shows, Eureka 7, Trigun, Razafon, they don't... Evangelion, they have just really bad final episodes. And this one wasn't bad. I thought the plot, what happened there, was good. I thought it did everything it needed to. Satsuki got a haircut, and she looks adorable. They went shopping in the end credits. It's just that it needed to take just a little bit more time. And because it kind of ran out of money, there wasn't what I really wanted to see. And I guess this is kind of, again, my immature 12-year-oldness, or 8-year-oldness. I wanted to see just, like, a really great final sword fight. We hadn't really seen a great sword fight until, like, episode 17, whatever it was, where Ryuko and Satsuki had fought in some Japanese city whose name, Kobe? I think it was Kobe. I don't know. I forget which city they were fighting in, but it was like a fantastic sword fight. We had not seen a really fantastic sword fight in a really long time because it was just kind of, there was so much they had to do. The last 8 episodes was so much intensity. And episode 23, by the way, I loved it because it was just, they kind of had a barbecue on the boat, and, you know, we're all friends now. We love each other. I feel like shows need to do that. They need to just take a time for them to just hang out. Eureka 7 had that thing where they had a soccer match right before the final boss. Even in the movie, Eureka 7 movie, which is horrible, that movie, oh man, Pocket Full of Rainbows, whatever the hell it was called. Oh my god, that's one of the worst anime movies ever made. But I liked how, Eureka and Renton, they interrupted the plot. They're like, we want to have a date. All this stupid shit has been happening, let's just go on a date. The plot, it can wait 5 minutes, we're gonna go have dinner. Like, that was great. That was heartwarming. As terrible of a movie as that was. So episode 23 was like that. Episode 24, unfortunately, Ryuko, she got her super final form because Senketsu absorbed all of the powers of everything. And Ragyo, she got her super power because she, like, absorbed every single one of the evil alien powers. And Nue, who was... I was always waiting for her. She was always so cheerful, but you could tell there was just this incredible anger behind her. I was waiting for her to go so crazy that she would, like, freak out even Ragyo, that she would, like, just go completely off the deep end. No smiles, just anger and completely break down. Never really happened. Instead, she just sort of sacrificed herself, and it was a little too neat. I thought she needed something that was much more intense for an ending. And the final fight was just them kind of rushing at each other and talking, and, for Kill la Kill's benefit, I will say Ragyo's way of dying is the most metal way I've ever seen anybody die in an anime. She reached inside her own chest, pulled out her heart, and crushed it. It's like, I'm not dying by your fucking sword. I'm gonna go do this myself. I'm killing myself my way. I'm gonna fucking, like, nobody on Earth can ever kill themselves that way. She's just that intense. She ripped out her own heart and crushed it. God bless you, Ragyo, you crazy, incestual, molesting bitch. Oh, you were such a great villain. This was the best anime of winter. But there's still, I don't know, maybe I've been spoiled by shows like Dragon Ball Z, where Goku and Frieza will fight for about 20 episodes. where I want to see, like, just one final big fight. Forget plot. We're just gonna have people fight for a while. And it never really had that. But I still say Kill la Kill, great anime. If you haven't seen it and you've been listening to this, you have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. So, I don't know why you're listening to this. Is my voice that sexy? It isn't. It really isn't. It's the morning. I sound kind of congested, if anything. So, yeah, so I gotta say, even though I had my problems with Kill la Kill and BioShock Infinite Burial at Sea, still really great stuff. And, definitely interesting. The world of fiction, still great stuff. People are coming up with interesting, insane ideas all over the world, and we're lucky enough to just be here and watch them. Now, let me talk about blog stuff for the next coming week. Last week I said I would watch Divergent. I did not watch Divergent. I was in the movie theater. I had just gotten out of God's Not Dead, which, as I predicted, was the worst movie of the year so far, and probably will be the worst movie by the end, I hope. Michael Bay has 2 chances, though, with his Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to make a worse film, so we gotta watch out. But I think God's Not Dead might actually be the worst film. It was really fucking bad. So anyway, I walked over. I could have gone to see Divergent, and I just did not want to. Because I've already seen this movie. It was called The Hunger Games. Like, I've seen so many of these young adult fantasy crap, and there's more coming. There's something called The Giver, and there's something called Maze Runner. Maze Runner I've heard is good. I don't know about The Giver. But, like, there's 2 more. I'm gonna watch this one. Oh my god. How many? Now all of a sudden we have Hunger Games ripoffs. And the thing is, I used to love watching the Twilight ripoffs, because Twilight was always a lot of fun. It was always so bad that you could enjoy it. There was all this crazy, perverted shit going on. Teenage girls, I feel bad for you guys. You get marketed such terrible stuff. Nobody has any respect for you. If you want to read a great fantasy kind of science fiction book marketed for teens, read Feed. I want to see a Feed movie. Who wrote Feed? Sorry, I have to look. This is by M.T. Anderson. Feed by M.T. Anderson. Read that. That's a really, really, really good book. He's also known as Matthew Tobin Anderson, if you want his full name. Anyway, talking about blog stuff, what's coming up? Obviously, this is going to get posted. I have to go and look ahead. I kind of lost track of what movies are coming out, but I know that Captain America 2 is coming out this Friday. And honestly, it doesn't look bad. I think it's going to be really good. Because it's the end of the month, tomorrow I'm going to have to write up the upcoming April edition of what films, whatever. That's going to be a thing. I'm going to put that there. I've kind of been really lackadaisical about my video game reviews. I have been playing Bravely Default for about a month now, but it's really long and it's a JRPG, and I kind of want to beat the final boss, but I played so much of it that I just really need a break. I got like a big burnout on it, because it's really, really long, and it gets really repetitive towards the end. I think it's a really great game, but before I write a big review of it, I don't know. Maybe I'll just post it and just get it done, whatever. Speaking of anime, the first season of Space Dandy ended, and it ended with one of the best damn episodes ever. Like, the best episode they've ever done, and that's a great show anyway. So I think I'm going to review the first season of Space Dandy. And back to movies. Because Captain America 2 is such a big film, it's kind of the first major tentpole release, we've finally gotten past the bullshit winter season, and we're now in the point where it's early spring and you're going to get the really serious blockbusters where they're meant to actually dazzle you. Because nobody gave 2 fucks about RoboCop. Honestly, nobody gave 2 fucks about 302, and 302 is actually not that bad. But people really care about Captain America, so I'm going to go, and I'm going to go all out. I'm going to try to do another one of those big YouTube reviews, not just me rambling like a moron, but one with a script and visuals and stuff. It won't be as good as you see on other YouTube things, because I don't have a camera, and I'm not JonTron, so I'm not that entertaining, but I'll try my best. We'll do some funny photoshopping, and we'll see what we can do. Other than that, yes, the Raid 2. I so want to see the Raid 2. Oh my god, it's like walking around for 3 days with just a throbbing hard-on. It's virtually the same thing, but it is not playing in New Jersey at all right now. It's only playing in Manhattan, and I do not have the money to go to Manhattan. I do not have the cash to drive all the way up there and then take the train and everything. I can't. I'm sorry. I really, really want to see it, but I can't just rip that one off. I can't torrent that. That I have to actually see in a theater and probably in the back row, just salivating and loving every second of it, because that's going to be so great. I really hope it makes a wide release by Friday, sometime this month. Please, I so need to see that. Why did God's Not Dead get a wide release, but The Raid 2 didn't? Oh, man. The worst part of it is, like, there's all these weird Bollywood movies that are always playing all around me, and not The Raid 2. Damn it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this rambling bit of ramble that I ramble about for rambling reasons. I was BlueHighwind. You were Space Monkeys. Thank you very much. Good night.